Hey y'all, and welcome to the video, and thank you guys so much for watching. Today I'm going to be showing you my entire eyeshadow palette collection. This video is necessary because I have accumulated so many palettes this year. I just became a eyeshadow palette collector slash wearer. I never really wore eyeshadow palettes before. I'm just not very good at eyeshadow, but I've decided that I kind of want to start learning how to do it, so I started really learning how to apply eyeshadow this year. So yeah. If you guys are loving the color on my lips, this is the Jeffree Star Mystery Shade that was exclusive only to the summer mystery boxes in the medium and the large size box, and I'm going to be giving my other one away to one of you guys in one of my future videos, so stay tuned for that. But before we get into the video, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe before you go. It would mean the world to me. And let's go ahead and show you my eyeshadow palettes. So I'm going to start out by showing you all of the palettes that I've gotten in my subscription boxes, which I didn't start getting them until this year, so these are just the palettes that I've accumulated this year. And starting out with the Tarte Be You Naturally palette, and it's just your basic little palette here. Yeah, it's pretty much just like the other Tarte palettes, I guess. There's not much to it. It's just kind of basic. But yeah, that's this eyeshadow palette. Next up is another Tarte eyeshadow palette, and this is the Big Dream palette. And it's another basic little palette. I haven't actually worn this yet, and I haven't worn this one yet either, so whoops. But I did swatch some of these shades, and they were really, really pretty. And plus, it smells like chocolate, kind of like the Too Faced chocolate bar palettes. But yeah, that's this palette. I also have two of the Huda Beauty Obsession palettes, and I have the Mauve and the Smoky. And also, unfortunately, I haven't even played with this palette yet. I know, I'm so bad, but I'm working on using this one in the fall time because it is mauve-y and berry toned, so I'm going to be using it very soon. And the Smoky palette, which is very intimidating because it's very dark, so I'm kind of scared to use it, but I will be using this in the future. Next up is the Laura Sanchez Moods palette, and she's a YouTuber. I don't watch her videos because she speaks Spanish, so I don't know what she's saying, but this is the palette. I've only swatched these two shades here. I haven't even played with those. Again, oops. But I will eventually use this. Here's the Butter London palette that we got in our BoxyCharm last month. And again, I haven't touched this palette yet. It looks like I have, like this green shade here, but I haven't. But again, I'm going to be using this very soon. So yeah. Then I have the Tetris palette that was an exclusive to Ipsy, and I also haven't used this palette yet, whoops, but it's very pretty, and my son has actually touched these shades, so yes, I will be using this soon as well. And then the last palette that I've gotten in my Ipsy and BoxyCharm is the Wander Beauty Wondrous Seascape palette, and this is just a small little palette, and I actually want to use this palette really bad. I didn't want to when I first got it. I kind of hated it, but I've seen some people do looks with this, and you can make a really pretty look with just these 6 shades, so I'm pretty excited to start using that. Now I'm going to show you the very first palette I ever got, and this was back in 2015, and it's the Naked 3 palette. Oh my god, I am never going to get rid of this palette just because it's the first shadow palette I've ever owned, and it has been loved. I wouldn't say it's been too loved, but it's definitely been loved because, again, I was really scared to use eyeshadows, so I kind of always would play with them, but never got a good look out of them. I didn't know how to blend and stuff like that, so I haven't really used this that much, but yes, this is my very first eyeshadow palette. Now this is the second eyeshadow palette that I've ever had, and this is the Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics palette. I got it for my birthday a couple of years ago, I think 2017, I believe, and this is the palette here, and it's just your basic palette. I mostly use the shade Commando if I ever run out of like my brow pencil, and I'll just fill my eyebrows in with this shade, but I haven't really used this that much either, but you know what, I have nothing to say about that. So this is the third eyeshadow palette I've ever bought, and it's the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. And the only reason why I bought this is because it looked really pretty, and I was a huge Jaclyn Hill fan back then, not so much now. But this one is also this is actually my most used palette. I'm wearing it on my eyes today. But this is the one I started to say I kind of like eyeshadow, and I'm going to try and create looks more, you know. But yeah, this one is definitely very loved. Haven't really used these yet that much. I've just kind of played with them, but these are like my most loved shades here, and this one definitely best transition shade I've ever used, and then this one and this one and that one. So yeah, this one's well loved and has gotten a lot of use. Now the fourth palette that I've owned is the Makeup Revolution, the Emily Edit The Wants palette, and I saw this one filmed by a YouTuber, and I fell in love with the colors. And this is the first palette that I'm like, wait, I want this palette, I need this palette. And I didn't even know who the YouTuber Emily was, but these are the colors. Very, very, very pretty. I haven't played with it that much, but I definitely love the purple shade, the shade Hobby, and Laugh Cry is probably my favorite shade in this palette. And yeah, it's a pretty solid palette. Now the next palette I really, really, really wanted, and it's the Jeffree Star Thirsty palette. So my boyfriend got it for me for Christmas, and this was the first Jeffree Star palette that I ever actually wanted to buy, because I'm not really into Blood Sugar or Beauty Killer or Androgyny or anything like that. But I mostly wanted this palette for these three shades here, and I have come to love these two shades here. I haven't played with any of these because I used this one once and the glitter just went everywhere, so I needed glitter glue and I don't know how to use these, but I will eventually learn how to, and I really love this palette. Now these next two palettes I got during an Ulta sale, and I got the Zulu by Juvia's Place, and I wanted this because I wanted some color in my collection, and I really, really, really like this palette. I've used it a few times, and I can create the best like mermaid looks out of here, but I really love this green and this blue and this orange and yellow. Like, they're my favorite shades out of this palette. So the next palette I got is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette, and this is a really great palette. It smells like chocolate. It's so good, and I actually traveled to Oregon a couple months ago, and this is the palette that I brought with me, and you can just create so many basic looks out of here, and I love it. And it's really easy to use as well, so I really love this palette. Glad I have it, and it's just really good. So this palette, the Lorac Pro 3 palette, I actually got a Poshmark from Porcelain here on YouTube. If you don't know who she is, she's really, really good. You should go look her up right now. This is just another neutral palette that I really wanted, and the shadows in here are really buttery, and I know a lot of people hate this palette because you can't really create a lot of looks because it all just kind of blends together, which is true, but I love that about this palette because it's a good beginner palette, in my personal opinion. But this is the other palette that I used when I went to Oregon. I only brought this palette and the other palette, and I love it. So this palette was also on sale, and I don't think you can get it anymore. I'm not sure, but it's the Anastasia Sultry palette, and I got this one specifically so I could learn how to do like a smoky eye with like really dark shades, which is very, they went to brush, which is very intimidating, and I've used it a number of times, but I really enjoy these like metallic shades here. I love all of these, and the slate gray shade, oh my god, such a good shade. But I like this palette, very scary to use, but I'm working on it. So I got the Makeup Revolution Soph X Revolution Extra Spice palette, and this is another YouTuber palette, and I don't know who she is. I watched one of her videos of her applying these shades and stuff because I just wanted to see people do it, so I went to her actual YouTube account. But when I saw the color story, I thought this is like the perfect fall palette. It just has so many pretty shades, and this shade Romance actually sucks so bad. I hate that shade, but the shade Aurora, oh my god, I cannot wait to create like a military style look with that. It's so good. I love it. That one, Lakes and Cookie Dough, my jam right there. This is another Makeup Revolution palette, and this is Fierce as Fire, and I don't like this palette at all. I've only used this shade. Something about it just I don't like, and I only got it because it was free with like a purchase of $20 or something. So that's why I have it. I don't really care for it. I haven't given it a chance. I might like it, but I don't know. I just haven't used it yet. Next up, I have the Urban Decay Elements palette, and actually, now that I think about this, this was my 6th palette that I've ever gotten, and it's because it had just all these unique shades in there, and it was on sale, and I got it for like $23, I think. But I love this palette. All these shades are so good, and I think it was really underrated because this palette came out with another palette, so people were buying the other one first and really talking about it. But I love this, and then this like enhancer shade here just really transforms looks. I love this palette to death. So probably one of my favorite ColourPop palettes is the Sweet Talk palette. It is gorgeous, and I love it so much. It's just the perfect like springtime palette, and I love it. I haven't worn it since Easter, whoops, but I really love this palette, and it's really pretty. And next up, I have the Chasing Rainbows palette from ColourPop, and I also purchased this the same time that I got the Urban Decay one, so 6th and 7th palette I've ever bought, and I keep it in the slip because this is just really pretty, and I really enjoy this palette. It's very pretty, and this was my very first ColourPop purchase, which I didn't actually buy. It was a free palette with like a $50 order, so yeah, but I really love it, and it's great. So next up is another ColourPop palette, and I'm going to go through the rest of my ColourPop palettes. This is the Orangey Glad palette. I just did a video on it. I will put a card up here, and yeah, I really love this palette. I've only swatched it. I haven't really played with it, but it's very pretty, perfect for summer and fall, and I love it. So for these next couple of palettes, don't hate me. I bought them when there was a sale, and I got 30% off because I used one of their like codes that you got in a text or something, and then it switched to 25% for everyone else. But I got the Ooh La La palette. I haven't opened it. I haven't played with it. So we're gonna look at it together. Here it is, and I haven't even played with it. But here it is. I cannot wait to play with it. It's just really, really pretty, and yeah, I just love pink shadows, so I'm excited to play. Again, I got the Just My Luck palette, and I haven't opened it. Let's look together at how gorgeous this is. Yes. Here we go. I think I like green shades. I'm not sure. I haven't really played with them, but I thought this would introduce me to greens, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this palette. I got the Blue Moon palette. It's very pretty. Let's see what it looks like together. Okay, here it is. Super gorgeous. I bought this because I want to try the shade Tide Pool so bad. It looks so pretty, and I can't wait to play. So we have the Soul palette here, which is repackaged too, because originally it was a white carton. Yeah, this used to be white. Now it's orange, which I like the orange to it. Haven't played. It has some shadow like all over the place. Oh, that's because B plus B is kind of, I don't know. But here it is. This one kind of has some scratches in it, so that's kind of weird. But this is the Soul palette. Pretty excited to play. I keep saying that. Oh my god, I'm so annoying. And then I got the Mar palette, of course. I kind of wanted to get the Proceed with Caution palette, but I kind of didn't like it, so I was like, I'm not going to waste my money on a palette I probably don't like and won't use, except for the yellow color, so I didn't buy that. But here's the Mar. Super pretty, and I feel like this is another palette that might look really good during like the winter time. So I went ahead and bought it, of course. So you guys might also hate me. This is the Main Squeeze palette, and I got it when it released, and I don't like it. And it's not that it's a bad palette, it's because I don't look very good with like a dark red look, which these kind of pull pink than red, but it doesn't, some of these shades just don't suit me, like Maraschino and Home Slice don't look good on me whatsoever, which is really sad, but I'm still going to play and figure out my look with this palette. This is another one of my favorite ColourPop palettes, probably my #2 favorite palette, and it's the Honey palette. I have found out that I look really good in yellow eyeshadow. I don't look like I have jaundice, but yeah, here it is. So pretty. I love this palette. My favorite shade is Sunburst, Oh Behave, and Dandy. Oh my god. I don't know what to say other than I love this palette. It's so cute. Everyone needs this palette. And again, don't hate me. This is the It's My Pleasure palette. It's their purple palette, and I don't like it. Something about dark purple eyeshadow on my eyes just doesn't vibe with me. It makes me look gross. But I do like the lighter purples in here, just not these darker purples. Doesn't suit me whatsoever. Now my third favorite ColourPop palette is the California Love palette. I just did a video on this too, so I'll have it up here somewhere. This is such a gorgeous, basic nude palette, but it is a staple, okay? This creates so many beautiful looks, and I love the shade Sequoia. That's my favorite shade, and so is Krystyn. Oh my god, I love this palette. It's so good. Now my last two palettes are Jeffree Star palettes, and this is the Mini Breaker, which I actually enjoy this palette so much, and I love it. I use it for the shade Slice and Orange Crush. It's so good, and so is this shade here. I love this palette. It's so good. And the last palette is the Jawbreaker palette. It's the perfect, colorful, pastel, freaking bomb goodness palette. I love it. I love it. I love it. The shade Lemon Drop here is so good, and so is Wow and Sick, and this shade I'm not going to say out loud. Soaked. I love it. Don't like the green, whatever, but I love this palette so freaking much. So that is it for my eyeshadow palette collection, and it is growing. I have a couple more palettes coming in the mail and so many more that I want to purchase and play with. So that is it. If you guys enjoyed this freaking video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. It would mean the world to me, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!